What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. So today we're going to look at Congressman Scalise. So a couple of days ago, I did put out a video with Congressman Scalise just talking more about the stimulus package, but he's also talking about the schools and reopening schools. I wanted to do a separate video on this because he says a lot of different things that I want to discuss. So that's what we're going to do today. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please hit the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right to the video. Here we go.
Republican Whip Steve Scalise. Congressman, thank you for joining us. I want to pick up on that question of schools. You've been highly critical of how the administration has handled this. But ultimately, the decisions on when to reopen schools are local decisions. What exactly do you want the administration, the president, to be doing?
John, good to be with you, first of all. And the first thing that the president can do is give strong guidance and follow the science. There's so much science out there that says that this is hurting kids, millions of kids in America right now that are not getting in-classroom learning every day. And again, you look at CDC guidance, you can look at the American Academy of Pediatrics. They all lay out how you can safely reopen schools. About 40% of children in America today are learning in school, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Those are in hot spots and places where the virus is not as serious. But if you look at what the priority should be, it should be the children. And that's not the case, because right now you can see as the unions have stepped up and said that they don't want in-classroom learning, you've seen the White House pressure the CDC to reverse guidance, which was very clear. But this money idea, by the way, that you have to wait until the money comes out, John, that's not the case. There's over $60 billion still remaining in previous relief packages, specifically for reopening schools. The money's there. This idea that you have to pass more money, the Congressional Budget Office said the money in this relief package moving through Congress this next week, that money will not even be able to be spent. 95% of it won't even be able to be spent until 2022. So do they really want to pass a bill that's going to delay reopening schools even more? Our kids can't wait. They need to be in the classroom today. The science says they can be in the classroom today. The question is the will there for some politicians in Washington who are bowing to the teachers' unions right now? The first priority should be the kids. The science says they can be and need to be in the classroom. There's devastating impact.
But Congressman, the White House is not mandating the states do anything on this. They have issued guidance from the CDC. Are you suggesting that the president should be effectively ordering local school districts to reopen? I mean, what are you saying? Because this, I mean, I assume you agree. I've heard you many times over the years say that education decisions are local. I mean, they aren't mandating one way or the other. The president is leaving it up to the localities on this.
Okay, so this is a good statement that he's making here. Like, should the school should be able to decide when they open, and each state has their own issues that they're dealing with when it comes to COVID. So some states are doing a lot better than other states. And Scalise even mentioned that 40% of students are going to school right now. So it's not a situation where you can't just say blanket everyone needs to go back to school. You have to look at the situation that you're in. And there are guidelines out there, just like the reporter said. There are guidelines out there right now, and that's coming from the CDC. So the guidelines that Scalise is talking about, they've already provided those. So the federal government should not be stepping in and saying you need to go back to school. They should not be requiring them to do anything.
Right. I strongly agree that education should be run at the local school system. In fact, I had a call just this week with hundreds of parents.
Okay, so he's saying he agrees with them, right? Now let's see what else he says.
Around the country who are leaders in their local communities at getting schools reopened. This was a wide swath, Republicans, Democrats, independents, parents who care about their children and demand that schools reopen. But what Jen Psaki just said is, I think, the biggest concern. That is, they're saying they want to pass over $100 billion of new money that's not even tied to schools reopening. So the real question is, look, my colleague Ash.
Look, and this is my opinion. The money should, we're looking at a situation where they're saying if you give them money, you have to open your schools. So you're requiring them to open their schools if they get money. That should not be the situation. The money should be there to help the schools, especially in this situation here where they're going to have to make some changes to the schools. They might even have to do construction and add different classrooms. So when it comes down to it, you can't say, well, if there's money that's allocated for this school, they have to reopen. Now you're telling the school, the federal government is telling the schools, you have to reopen. They're giving them a mandate. And Congressman Scalise said there shouldn't be a mandate. But in the same sentence, he's saying no, but they need, if they get money, they need to reopen.
Ashley Hinson from Iowa had a bill that would say if they get new money, it has to be tied to reopening schools. I think that's what parents are demanding all across this country, and yet they rejected that proposal. So the question remains, why do they need hundreds of billions of dollars of new money from the federal government if they won't reopen schools? There's money out there already. There's over $1 trillion in relief package money that's still available across the board without this bill, this almost $2 trillion bill that even Larry Summers said would wreck our economy. So let's target the money. But this idea that Washington should be giving out $100+ million of new money to schools and not even requiring them to reopen, that's an insult to those children who are demanding that they go back to school.
Okay, so there's Congressman Scalise. I have some issues with a lot of the stuff that he's saying when it comes to reopening the schools. And at the end, he's talking about the kids, they want to go back to school. Sure, kids they're going to want to do a lot of things, but that doesn't mean it's safe for them to go back to school. And in some situations, it's not safe for them to go back to school. So they need to keep them from going back to school. I think a lot of what's going to happen, just like I mentioned earlier, is these schools are going to have to increase the classrooms that they have. That way they can decrease the amount of kids that are in the class. So that would mean that they might have to do construction. They might have to do some creative things, and they're going to need money to do those creative things. They might have to hire more teachers. We don't know all the things that the schools are going to have to do in order to get the classrooms and get the school ready for kids to start coming back. So in certain areas, they're already open, and that's good. But some areas, they're not. And you can't hold this money over it and say, well, if you don't open your schools, we're not going to give you any money, because that does not make any sense, because that will keep them out of school even longer, because now these schools are going to have to try to figure out, how are we going to make this school safe? How are we going to use the guidelines that the CDC has provided to make the school safe for kids to go back to school? So I want to know what you guys think about this. So in the comment section, let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. Oh yeah, and make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. We are going to be doing giveaways starting next week. It's going to be a Cash App giveaway, $50 Cash App giveaway. I'm giving away my $600 stimulus check. So make sure you go over to Instagram. I'll have the information in the description so you can follow me. Follow me. Make sure you read the rules. I have rules for the giveaway, so make sure you read those. And then I'll see you on Instagram. Talk to you guys later. Bye.